A hardened heart will set you up for a lot of problems. One of the things, one of the things that could, one of the things that show growth in a person, that show the fruit developing in their life, is the ability to let someone off the hook, to forgive them, to not want them to be punished anymore, and to put them in God's hands for justice. Okay, it is not forgiveness is not saying what they did was okay or excusing it. They have that's their business with God. But for your welfare and for your business with God, um, there does have to be letting them off the hook, because it's not your place to judge another man's servant. So, for example, say you've got a person, say you've got a man and he's got this mother, and say this mother, let's just say this mother had some issues, had some temper issues, had some controlling issues. Um, Maybe she was abusive, or maybe she was addicted, whatever it is. Maybe she neglected. Maybe she always expected you to be perfect. Maybe she punished you for her own childhood. The thing about it is, and let's say that person is coming to the potential end of their life. Let's say they have dementia. Maybe they don't even recognize you anymore. Maybe they're really mean and nasty. To take a stance of judgment on them, even if you see it as a redemptive end, like they're going to have to suffer this on this earth or something, it will rob you. One of the signs that you're making headway in your heart, that there's fruit developing in your life, is when you're able to see humans as very fallible, even the ones that raised you. And they were possibly reenacting their own childhoods, and it doesn't make it right. Some people some people choose not to deal with their issues. They choose not to get better. They choose to stay in their strongholds, you know. They refuse to humble themselves and admit to mistakes. You know, that is their choice. But that doesn't mean that we can't grow past this ourselves and make better choices. And let them off the hook and give them to God. But what we have to be careful about is our soul. Our soul can be tricky and want to punish that person and teach them a lesson, right? Teach them a lesson. And the thing about that is that in the end, you don't win with that. It's a loss. You know, you never go to see them and make peace, even with yourself. And, there's something about seeing, if you ask God to show you the frailty and who that person really is, who they were, before you ever knew them, the frailty and the imperfection of this parent. I can tell you that for 20 something years, I rarely talked to my mom, and I was very angry with her. And when I moved back to Tulsa, I really couldn't even be around her much. It was very difficult. Now, 10, 12 years later, we made progress. And I've learned to see her a little for who she is that I didn't realize. Another wounded person just like me, or another imperfect person just like me, a person that didn't really learn to grow into who they were, a person that had some insulation and was afraid of what other people felt, a person who was very frustrated and filled with fear. I say that because, when we get to this stage in life, where we're in our, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, it is healthy to see a parent more as an equal and as a friend, or as a non friend, whatever, but as an equal. And to see that just like us right now, it's two adults standing there that are both sinners and have made mistakes. And more than likely, you yourself, me, myself, we've hurt others. And what would we want them to do for us? What would we want them to do for us? Would we want them to keep holding on to it and punishing us? Or would we want them to let us off the hook? It doesn't have anything to do with excusing. It doesn't have anything to do with changing the narrative to match theirs. It doesn't. And it doesn't mean you have to continue to be abused by that person. But if it is in your power, let's say in this case where the mother has dementia, if it is in your power to go for yourself, to make peace and allow a mending and a healing to happen, to see that person as the frail person that they are, as the wounded person that they are, now no longer even as your mother all the time, but as just someone who's lived a life just like you and has their regrets and has suffered. I mean, they're just like you. So I had these two dreams way back. Well, one was years before I ever moved here, and then another was just a couple years ago. But, in the dream, I was very aware of the feeling once she was gone, my mom, and realizing that how foolish and what a snare and trick it is for you to think you get ahead by punishing another person, or by, holding back your forgiveness, holding back your love, whatever, right? Not using the time you have in trying to restore and just letting them off the hook. A chance to know them in a new way, And of course, there's generally some good things you can remember. And even if that person is in dementia, you can still say it. But I'm saying this because once they're gone, they're gone. And you can't. The way I felt in this dream was such grief. Especially the one years ago, I was crying and saying, "I'm sorry we didn't get along." That was many years ago, that dream. But it really, it was showing me something. It was showing me that it would not benefit me. That I would be grieved because I didn't take the higher road. And I would be grieved because of what I miss. So wherever they are in life, wherever you are in life, what I'm realizing is, our lives come to an end. And once someone is gone, they're gone. And you don't have the chance to say to them what you might want to say. You don't have a chance to make peace. And it's going to be harder because they're gone and you didn't make peace. And then you'll realize, and it's like a trick of the devil, then you'll realize, wow, they're gone. I thought I was getting even and making my point here and teaching that person a lesson by judging them. And then you realize it was all for nothing. It was all for nothing. All it did was probably hurt that person, but also all it did really was just torment you. It didn't do any good. It didn't do any good. You took the lower road. No one control you. No one can control you. You are free. No one is controlling you unless you let them. And with the Holy Spirit's guidance, you can know where the proper boundaries are. You know, sometimes that fear of people controlling you can make you like actually find controlling people or think people are controlling when they're not. But anyway, um, so that's what I want to share is that you can regret those things and you can't undo it. And the higher road is to be willing to bring something at least beautiful and healing in the end. And to see that person for the frail person they are and let them off the hook. And in doing that, your relationships can get better. Um, if we have aught against our parents, it really impacts our relationships. So it's put them in God's hands, but your duty is to honor and love. And to try to find a little redemption and mending and healing. And to say, this was a person I was given as a mother. This was the family I was born into. I accept the losses, but I choose to love and let them off the hook. And not only that, but to find something that was good and love them at the last moment there before they go. Because once they're gone, they're gone.